compliance with the Open Public Meetings Law, I wish to state that on October the 20th, 2017, the notice of this meeting of the Upper Township Committee was posted on the official Township Bulletin Board, mailed to the Cape May County Gazette, the Atlantic City Press, the Ocean City Sentinel-Ledger, and the Herald Times, and filed with the Township Clerk. Tonight's meeting is being video recorded up until the closed session portion of this meeting and will be available on UTTV Channel 97 and on the Upper Township website. I hereby direct that this announcement be made a part of the minutes of this meeting. I would ask all to rise for the salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Joanne, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Barr?
Here.
Mr. Coggins is absent. Mr. Corson?
Present.
Mr. Young?
Here.
Mayor Palumbo?
Here. Would someone like to make a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes and the closed session minutes from October 10th?
Motion to approve. Second.
Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
I abstain. So, Scott, do you have anything for us this evening?
Yes, sir. Two things, actually. First, just a quick update on the Fall Fest and Pumpkin Run. We're moving right ahead as far as all of our activities. I have to pay compliment to the clerk's office and Joanne specifically for all the work that she's done leading up to getting this all together for us. We've been working very diligently with our mapping company that basically has given us an overview with our digital maps of the entire area of Amanda's Field and where all the events and activities are going to happen on the 4th.
Did everybody get one of these or no?
What's that?
Just you.
Okay.
That Dan didn't give an idea what we did.
Yeah, you all have on your computers too. I just sent you an email colored version of those maps. We just got it. Matter of fact, it just came in at 7 o'clock today from WTA.
We're still missing one page.
That's not the updated version. That's
There's
just
a lot of paint. How much paint did we use?
The front big field, I think we had, what, close to 400 car spaces in that one.
Available
nice.
in Zone A, yes.
So,
So we've have two more meetings set up for tomorrow and Wednesday as far as the public safety aspects of this event are concerned. Tomorrow we should finalize our emergency action plan, and that has to be submitted to the county and the state. And then we have our final meeting with K&D Securities to finalize making any last-minute adjustments to any of our activities that we have. So,
any word on Route 50?
as far as Route 50 closing it down, no, it will not be closed down. State police haven't told us it will not be closed down. We're going to be getting some variable message boards so that we can redirect the flow of traffic. So we hope that that will alleviate enough and reduce the traffic between Perry Road and Lamar's during the event. So hopefully it'll just be localized traffic and event traffic only for the beginning, let's say up until about 10 o'clock. We figure after that most of the exhibitors will be in Amanda's Field, so we won't have an issue with traffic. That does not mean that the state police won't be there actively patrolling from time to time, and then also they'll give us assistance as people start to leave later on in the afternoon. So we do have, obviously, Sheriff's Department and K&D that will be patrolling throughout the event on the 4th of November.
As well as EMTs on bicycles and
Absolutely.
I think they're bringing explorers too.
Yes.
So the explorers also walking and keeping an eye on things.
And Cape May County Emergency Management has also will provide their communication van, so that'll give us interoperability between all the agencies that will be supporting us on that day.
And we will have the Polaris over there, or the Kubota?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the only other thing I have tonight is we recently, over the past 2 weeks, have updated our communication center, updated all the software in the individual workstations, and updated updated our mapping system. And that's in preparation for the next phase, which is the introduction of our InfoShare CAD system. And we hope to start that process within the next month, as far as the software installation and whatnot. We will be coming back to committee to finalize, because it was a bond purchase with all the particulars there, to proceed with that, our last phase of introduction of that software. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Joanne, do you have anything for us this evening?
I don't, but I just ask that you keep Barbara Young in your prayers and for a speedy recovery for her. She's back soon. And I do want to thank Scott for his efforts and help, but it's the joint effort in the clerk's office. We've all been fielding phone calls and applications, and Janet and Karen and Barbara, everybody's been working hard, and
You're
Barb
very
Spiegel's
humble.
office as well.
You're overly humble.
No, it's a joint effort. It really is. But thank you.
Joanne loves doing it, and that's a plus. I'll wait till I sing, but I just wanted to reiterate.
You don't have to.
Don't rush, just accept it and smile.
Daniel?
And nothing at this time. We do have a number of matters for closed session.
Okay, Paul?
I just want to report that today we had the NJDT on site doing an inspection for our storm management program. And I want to say, thanks to Scott and Lori for helping out and going on there. We have a couple minor things more for just final documentation. We're doing all the work that we just got to fine tune some of our documentation, but I don't think that's going to be a big thing. And otherwise, we've got a pretty good report on how we're maintaining our stormwater control system and drainage facilities within the township.
And I might add too to that, as far as the documentation is concerned, we're going to be utilizing our mobile 311 software more with that process, because we've added all the different categories and whatnot to mobile, so it'll hopefully make Paul's job a little easier, as will it make public works job.
That's all I have.
Okay, Barbara?
I just have one thing, request for an employee, one of our full-time EMTs, Lynn Chapman, is requesting to go to the National Fire Academy in Emmitsburg, Maryland, for a 6-day class on emergency medical quality management program. There is no cost for the class at all. It would just be his time away and covering his shifts while he is away for those 6 days. Because it's an out-of-state class, because of the length of time, the policy requires that it comes to you for approval.
I would like to make it in form of motion, we approve this, as there's nothing but benefit to having our people better educated, better schooled, and more prepared.
It will be January 6th to 12th, by the way.
Mr.
Okay, first and second, would you call the roll?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you, that's all I have.
Mr. Young?
Just one or two things. Again, let me thank, first of all, Scott and Barb, Joanne, Jan, everybody in the clerk's office. This is the biggest event by probably 10 times of any we've ever done. And I have to say, it's probably one of the easiest events that I've been involved putting together. And that's because of the people we've had working with us hand in hand. And it's been a real pleasure. And I appreciate the fact that I get complimented on you all the time with people from the public coming in to call me and say that they've been here or called. And quite taken by you, but so that's a great thing. We don't hear that very often, right? So, thank you for that. Again, we had the maps done, as you can see. You guys saw everything's digitized. Our parking scheme, everything, OEM, emergency response. We even have a landing zone if we need it for a helicopter. We are right now prepping to have a jitney or a school bus. If we do decide we need to park on off-site areas at the school, Township Hall, and the community center. And they'll pay $5 to park, and that'll cover their jitney costs. They'll offset the cost for us, but they will run a circle from like 10 o'clock on if we need the outside parking. We'll also have a hayride inside as a shuttle for anybody inside that needs to get from one end to the other. I think we have, what, 4 of the Kawasaki mules or whatever it is, and 5 or 6 golf carts that'll be there to help get people around and deal with the senior citizens and special needs. As of right now, we have 36 food vendors. I have 88 non-food vendors, which are taking up 187 spaces. I've got somewhere between 30 and 40 car park vendors setting up, and we're almost 4 football fields plus long just in car parks. And then we have quite a few other things coming on. Nostalgia race cars. I have a military section that we just found out we're going to have with military vehicles. We're going to have a special place for them. 2 bands playing, and we're going to decorate the park up with pumpkins and hay, corn stalks, including the stage area.
Military vehicles, any track machines?
No track machines that I know of. If they do, they'll bring them in the back and trail them and keep them on the dirt. All the big stuff is going all the way in the back by the men's softball field. And for the record, our pumpkin chunker is back, and we got that straightened out. I met with him, and we're good to where he's going to shoot at. I got to come up with some targets for him. And the only other thing I have left to do is I got to get some firewood and try to figure out some way to get water for the big steam tractor that runs on wood and steam, for him to be able to reload all day long. And I need about a half a quart of wood for him to burn. So we'll work on that. Township employees, I got to commend Johnny Adams and everybody that's worked with him, and Roy. Kid's doing a phenomenal job down there. He just takes it and goes, and it's done properly. So right now he's cleaning some of the woods out along the bike path and brushed it, trimmed the trees up, and I could probably park an additional 100, 150 cars in that area if need be. We're looking, a good day would be 500 to 600 street rods. The outstanding would be about 800 street rods, not counting all the other stuff that we have with the tractor pools. Wallace family is bringing 2 tractor trailer loads of antique trucks, motorcycles, cars, and vintage John Deere tractors. And I have nostalgia race boats coming, the old Jersey skiffs. They'll be there along with our motorcycles. And we're actually going to set it up where we have 3 food courts. We have enough vendors. We're going to surround the entire soccer field, both sides, bike path and along the fence. There'll be, I think, another 8 vendors or 10 vendors on the football field, as well as vendors all the way back by the softball field. So we shouldn't run out of food this year. Last year, Harry ran out of food by lunchtime. And also being on the radio with it, if anyone wants to listen on Saturday mornings, it's called Bob Burns Neighborhood Garage. He is really pushing this for us, and I've been to 3 different car shows in the last 3 weeks, and some of the other people have been and handed out, I would imagine, probably 600 or 700 flyers. And the response has been phenomenal. So, big event. I think we've done a good job on security, safety, traffic flow. Anybody wants to volunteer Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? I'm looking for people to help decorate the place, put the hay bales out, get the stage decorated, as well as get signage up. We have a lot of signage to put up directing people. And the only last thing I want to do, Scott, is I'd like to order 24 to 36 real estate size signs that says Fall Fest Pumpkin Run this way, so that we can put them on 49, 50 down Tuckahoe Road, so we can direct people coming off the parkway as well. I think that's the best way to do it. So I'll be glad when it's over. I haven't worked in 2 weeks, just meeting people and doing this, so it's pretty extensive. I couldn't imagine if the ladies weren't jumping in. And no, just pray for good weather.
It's a week from Saturday.
Yeah, it's a week from Saturday, from 8 in the morning till 4 o'clock. We're opening the gates at 5 o'clock in the morning. Vendors will be there setting up at 5. I'm going to hopefully get all the portable lights from GPS Soccer. I think they have 5 or 6. And put them out there for that morning to light up the whole area. And and we'll also have people out and some things out in the street to direct the traffic in. And we have a really good flow set up. And I wanted to thank GPS again for, I know that there's some negatives as far as bringing the outside programs in, but they consistently donate their time and their equipment and their lights to anything we want to do. Saves us quite a bit of money. So again, I want to go on record thanking them. And I think we covered everything from there.
Okay. Sounds exciting. Mr. Barber.
After the meeting, I got some suggestions for targets, but
For targets?
I got a few for another time.
No, I can't be there.
Another time.
Depends on what you do for closed session.
Looks like our guys are doing a good job out there with the crack sealer. Moving along.
Yeah, we're actually finished up with what material we have.
Good.
Made up the lady garage on the wood course, all the way down.
All right, so, and the leaves are returning, so I guess we got a game plan, getting ready, get our game plan for leaf pickup. Besides that, that's pretty much all I have.
Mr. Corson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The only thing I have is we had our rabies clinic the 21st, and we did 52 dogs and 10 cats were vaccinated for a total of 62 animals.
Very good.
And you just signed everyone up.
Excuse me?
Is that what you just signed?
No,
All right.
So you have something else?
that's it, Mr. Mayor.
I had one other thing. We went down, we're still having problems in Amanda's Field in parking in the memorial area. I went down with Roy and Chris, and we were down there for quite a while, just trying to figure out what to do. We had big rocks back in the gravel pit, so we put them all the way down the entire roadway. It kept 90% of the people off, but I had a video tonight from when they sent me people back in their trucks right over top of the rocks and still parking there. So I've asked Roy and Scott, and I talked to them, I want to get bigger signs. We have one small sign out there, what, might be 10 by 12, that says no parking on the grass. Yeah. You know, I really don't want to start calling cops to ticket them if we don't have the proper signage.
Call busted knuckles.
So I would like to get, well, again, we need the signage before we can do that. So we need probably 4 to 6 or maybe 8 signs that says, you know, no parking on the grass. If you do, you will be towed or ticketed, and make it real clear so we can get that taken care of. We were also going to putting a split rail fence at the memorial area and removing some of the shrubs that are there to open up the sight triangles. And talked to Paul today. We're going to remove all those shrubs eventually, and what I want to do is do memorial trees in that whole center area and put them out where people can buy them and put flowering trees in there so it brightens that whole area up. We're irrigated, so this is just having bushes growing, and we'll be able to see the kids running around too. Right now you can't see them. When they dart out of there, it's actual, it's a nightmare. So we'll work on that, get that together. Split rail fence will go up like 44 feet across the back road, and we're like 160 or 120 across the front. So it's going to be a big V shape. And with the idea that we can do memorial benches on that V also, and hopefully really turn it into a nice area. So, and again, that's, you know, Johnny Adams just jumped on that and took off. So.
If we do memorial benches, Dan, do we have to do them by ordinance, or?
I think we could do, it wouldn't be a bad idea to do it by ordinance, because then it's set in stone and it's easy to look up. You don't have to change it year to year. We addressed it before. I'm trying to remember whether or not, I don't think we passed an ordinance, but we may have done something by resolution, or for someone individually, like on an individual basis. I think we've done it a couple times in Strathmere. I see the boss is shaking her head yes, so that's probably true.
Baby boat ramp we just recently.
Yeah, I'd like to make it so they have choice. Paul's going to make a list of what trees, what size caliper we're going to do, you know, and so
If you're going to have it as a routine thing that people are going to want to do, then we should do it as an ordinance. In the past, we've had isolated requests for street end benches and things like that in Stratford.
if it works inside, I want to try and do it along Route 50 where all those bushes are, to open the sight triangles up and also give us added security when we ride by. We'll be able to see if there's anybody in there after dark. Right now, you can't see. And one other thing real quick. I talked to Paul also, our light situation out there is horrendous as their drive aisles, and I asked him to check with the electric company to see what it would take to switch those lights to LED lights, just on the drive aisles. I think there's about 6 lights.
I think there's lights we have a ton of for that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If we tear some of them out, we can put them down there, but we can convert these to LED and only pick up some security issues here. And just something I forgot to mention. That's it.
Just checking.
I can't help it.
I don't know.
We can use someone else in my department, see what they say.
Oh, but you want Dean to start investigating and put together an ordinance for us?
Yeah.
Memorial benches.
All right. Memorial trees and benches.
All right, so I just want to remind everybody that the trunk or treat that the rescue squad is running is tomorrow night at Amanda's Field. Anybody know the time?
I do. It's, 6 to 8.
6 to 8. Halloween is the official day, October 31st. That's from 5 to 8. That's Tuesday evening, next Tuesday evening. That's about all I have. So let's move on and go to the resolutions.
Number 1, appointing Peter Bugansky as truck driver to the Upper Township Department of Public Works.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion carried. Appointing Stuart Sagan as equipment operator to the Upper Township Department of Public Works.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion carried. Appointing William Hoffman as a part-time employee to the Upper Township Construction Code Office to serve as fire protection inspector.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion carried. Authorizing a contract amendment between the Township of Upper and KD National Force Security and Investigations, LLC, for additional professional security services.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion carried. Authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to sign a spending account client renewal confirmation form with Triumph Group, Inc. for an employee health reimbursement account.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion carried. Urging the New Jersey Department of Transportation to designate no turn on red in all directions at the intersection of New Jersey State Highway Route 50 and County Route 610.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion carried. Opposing legislative proposals regarding the Open Public Meetings Act and the Open Public Records Act.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion carried. Authorizing the mayor to sign and submit an amendment to the Upper Township Recreation and Open Space Inventory.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion carried. Approving the mission statement of the Upper Township Economic Development Advisory Commission.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion carried. Tax refund, Block 600, Lot 62, qualifier C0055.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion carried. Authorizing the Township of Upper to accept the transfer of surplus vehicle from the County of Cape May.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion carried. Authorizing a shared services agreement with the County of Cape May for the use of county resources during special township-sponsored events.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion carried. Authorizing the award of a contract with Caprioni Portable Toilets, Inc. for equipment rental.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion carried. Number 14, under ordinances, introduction and first reading of ordinance number 15, 2017, an ordinance revising job classifications and titles and amending Chapter 5 entitled Personnel of the Code of Upper Township.
Okay, this is an introduction, so we'll have to set a date for...
November
the public
20th,
hearing.
please.
What is it?
November 20th.
November 20th. Okay.
Move we introduce ordinance number 15 of 2017 for final hearing and public adoption on the 20th of November.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion carried. Introduction and first reading of ordinance number 16, 2017, an ordinance amending ordinance number 17, 2016, known as the salary ordinance for the calendar year 2017.
Again, we'll be introducing this, and I guess we'll use the November 20th date as well.
Move we introduce ordinance number 16 of 2017 with the 20th of November date.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion carried. Under correspondence, New Jersey Department of Transportation correspondence regarding the installation of flashing road safety lights and highway safety signs at Route 50, milepost 5.78 and 5.88.
All right, so who wants to talk about this? Paul, you or Dan?
I'll start. It looks like on the review where we were asking for advanced warning signs so that people, know in advance that we have an event going on at the community center. It looks like they came back and said, well, before we do that, let's talk about putting up the parking signs on that stretch.
No parking signs?
No parking signs at on 50.
That's not going to change
Isn't
it.
there no stopping and standing signs there?
No.
No.
I don't believe so.
But that's not going to take care of the problem.
And they talked about, that they thought the issue was site distance issues. But I guess they didn't really read our express that well.
Did they send anybody to come down and look at the site? Probably not.
It's not really parking, it's really exit and entering
Yeah.
the highway in the middle of the night.
To give people a heads up.
I mean, it's not a bad idea to put the signs there. Because there is people that do park on the highway.
Maybe we should clarify that it's not about parking, it's about entry and exit to the community center at high traffic items.
I mean, they did no parking only on the community center side. It definitely helped the straight triangles, but not on the other side.
But the parking on the road has never been an issue because they're not parking on the road. It's,
They are parking.
When they always get busy, yeah, they're always, I've seen them going down past Sam's on both sides of the street.
well,
That's an issue.
And all the way to the first subdivision.
So the question is, where are they going to park if we put no parking in?
That's the problem.
But I was going to say, if we went 100 feet each side of the
What
entrance.
else should do is make them walk further. I don't see how that can be.
Which could be more dangerous.
Yeah, if we took 100 feet each direction from each entrance, just on the community center side, and made that no parking in that stretch.
But if you look at it, the New Jersey regulation for no parking at an intersection on the stop sign side, from the stop sign in, on the street that you're in, is 50 feet. On the intersecting street, from the curb line to your direction of travel, is 25 feet.
Oh, I know.
So, so from, if I'm at a road intersection, the no stopping or the no parking standard is 25 feet.
I know. If you go to Ocean City, you take your life in your hands on their intersections. You know, you got to nose all the way out to see it. I think that's where we're having a problem, when they're lining up completely, and then you have them on the other side too. So, could we ask them to do 100 feet?
Well, obviously, the issue is a parking problem. So the solution to the problem is to try to come up with more parking.
that's right.
And
We've been unsuccessful. The bank currently owns the vacant lot next to the community center.
yes,
And they have been reluctant to answer phone calls. I call them about every
Can we send them a letter? I heard that somebody bought the house itself and not the lot, so that's what I was.
Which bank is it?
Which bank?
So I'll tell you what, I think it would make sense to have Dan send a letter officially from the township, if you wouldn't mind. You know, pursuing the opportunity for potentially purchasing the lot. Maybe we can, you know, in the meantime, look at potential open space or county grants or something that we could use.
Could we craft a letter to say we were interested in purchasing it, or we were prepared to go through eminent domain too, for public interest?
In purchasing, you mean
The vacant lot?
in purchasing the vacant lot, isn't that what Rich?
Yeah, but if they don't want to sell it, we're prepared to go for eminent domain and take it over.
We could. I could mention that. I could mention that,
He's thinking of him.
I mean, we might get their attention.
yes. But I don't know if I would say that in a letter. I think I'm going to try and find out who their attorney is and then go in that direction.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I mean, obviously, trying to work out with the state, that's not gonna get us anywhere, and the reality is when there's events there, there's not enough parking to support the events that are there, so, and it really is something that the Township Committee had pursued in the past. We could never come to an agreement on the price, right? So, I think, since there's an opportunity maybe to purchase it at this point, it'd be, you know, behooves us to look into it, so.
And for the time being, we're not going to respond to the DOT.
Well, I mean, I think we should say thank you for your help, but no thanks because you haven't done anything for us. How's that? You know, I mean, it's really annoying that they can't work with us sometimes, you know? So we're gonna have to take this challenge on ourselves and pursue it in a different way.
Because even if we wanted to put no parking, we still have to go to the DEP or the Department of Transportation and ask for no parking permission.
Well, they're willing to put up the parking, you just need a formal request.
We can't afford that, the parking there.
But if they put up a no parking, it's going to meet the state standards, and it's only going to be 25 foot each side.
They can put up a warning. I was just letting you know that, that's
Standards.
That's what the standard is, at the street intersection. I would gather that they're probably not one more. I mean, I can
Well, it's-
contact them and find out what kind of distance that they're.
So why don't you do that, making no formal promises or guarantees, and in the meantime, let's simultaneously work, Dan, with you trying to determine, you know, what, because if we can somehow get that, then the signs may make sense if we have the lot to do that. So-
Yes. That's,
Paul, if you would, get me your contact information from the bank, and if Megan has any addresses.
I think Shelley may have an address. Because I know she-
Has title been taken back from the bank? Do you know if they hold title?
Yes. Because they've taken, and they've already resold the house.
Yeah, understand.
I'm assuming that they have.
yes, they have, because Shelley was dealing with the bank and on the cleanup of the house.
All right, so we got our ways to go forward. Do you need a motion for us to send the letter, or?
I don't think so at this point.
Okay.
Under new business, number 17, bid results for Webster Avenue Park improvements.
Paul?
We received the bid results for Webster Avenue Park improvements. The low bidder was Sussman Enterprises at $71,665. Unfortunately, that is more than the bond budgetary funds we have available for that project, or actually within the bond itself, even maxed out within that category of projects. So there's really no additional funds to get to this price. I had a meeting with Barb, Scott, and Roy, and discussed possibly, initially, part of it was, we thought because of the bulkhead project that we had to incorporate it as a bidding project because of purchasing rules, but looking at the scopes of work, that they are two separate distinct projects, and we can, from a budgetary standpoint, go out and get quotes for the materials, have some of the work done by contractors, have some of the work purchase materials and have public works, do some of the work that they can readily do, like fence removal and grading and filling and stuff that they do every day. That we can probably complete the project in a timely fashion for the opening before spring next year, and be more within our budget parameters. So
So in other words, what you're saying is that we as a township, we have a certain amount of money that's bonded. What is that amount, by the way?
We have available about $55,000.
So we are going to purchase the equipment ourselves and put the equipment up in lieu of.
And we're filling, the lot's going to have to be filled to bring the grade up.
Correct.
And then we talked about some concrete work being done.
Probably go out and see quotes for concrete work and install some of the safety fencing. But then Public Works do we've already purchased the playground that was purchased
Last year.
under state contract about last year. So it's really, bringing the grade up to fill up the grade. We have a constant problem because it is low there during high tide events. The water washes a lot of the safety surfacing out into Baby Drive. So we want to kind of raise it up, curve it to try to contain that safety surfacing, and then have some more landscape areas and just do some park improvements for the facility. But that's a lot of it we can Public Works.
And we also have a little bit of a possible erosion problem in the adjoining property, because the one's got to be a good 12 to 16 inches higher than where we are right now. So if we don't fill it and bring it up in the new bulkhead, it's going to make the bulkhead up. So that's going to be substantially higher too. So now's the time to raise it. So
We're going to put a high priority on this so we can get it done by the spring.
That's one reason why I met with Scott and Roy, before this meeting, and I think everybody feels confident that we can get that project completed with their other workloads before springtime.
Because this is a project that's been kind of like floundering for a couple years, so let's get it done, and if we're gonna go move forward, I'd like to see the time dedicated to getting it done, and getting it done, within a reasonable amount of time, so.
we saw what we can accomplish at Cottonwood Park with the right 5 or 6 man crew, and they knock the heck out of that thing. So it's possible.
And most of the work, is grading work, which can be done during the winter months. That's not temperature sensitive, so we should be able to be in good shape for that.
How much fill do they need all there, approximately?
For the hand.
It looks like 300 cubic yards. So we're probably trying to raise the grade.
I mean, that's something we can truck fill on a rain day or anything like that. I mean, that's not weather sensitive, truck and fill.
The bulkhead, we're still waiting to get confirmation from the bulkhead contractor.
Grading on the other hand.
The bulkhead material should be delivered to the contractor within this next week or two. And then once he has the material, it'll probably be done in less than, I figure it's a month, but by the time he gets it, slips it into his schedule and it's out there, it's going to be a very, actual construction work is probably a week at most. So it's just a matter of, it doesn't have it done before December at least.
Great.
We're going to need a resolution rejecting the bids. So I assume you want that on the next agenda?
Yes. All right, let's move on to the next.
Number 18, annual update to all hazards mitigation plan.
Let's go back to you, Paul.
Thank you. As you know, we participated with the county in preparing an all-hazard mitigation plan. That was approved last year, and as part of our CRS, the community rating program with FEMA, we have to do an annual update and go through the plan and see what else is might be changing, look at the different mitigation projects that are listed in the plan, kind of give a status update on what the mitigation projects are, and then also identify if there's any other mitigation projects that we might want to add to the list, so that that's kind of what FEMA looks at, that there's grant funding out there for different projects. You have to really identify that project as part of your hazard mitigation plan to be eligible for grant funding. So you can see as of this month, the township has been recertified for upgrading our CRS class rating from a class 6 to a class 5. We're one of the, there's probably only very few, municipalities in the county that are at class 5. 2 or 3, I think Ocean City, Seattle, and Avalon, I think are probably some of the only municipalities that we're in a good company, considering all those other very communities have a lot of policies and these are old towns and that, whereas we're, I'll say, a small community, but we're doing a lot of effort for our residents that are in the Township area, and they'll be receiving a good discount on their health insurance rates. So it's just really an update for that. We have to submit that up to FEMA and we also send it to the newspapers, Department of Public Notification for that. The community at large knows what we're doing.
Okay, so I guess we'll accept that as a FYI. Next item,
Number 19, Upper Township PTO request to hold bingo BA 488 and raffles RA 489, 490, 491, and 492 at the Upper Township Middle School on December 2nd, 2017.
Motion to allow?
second. Would you call the roll?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Colombo?
Yes.
Motion carried. Number 20, CNC Bike Shop requests the use of Amanda's Field Skate Park on October 29th, 2017.
And that is for, I'm trying to recall the application when I read it today.
They're having like a Halloween bike and skate.
This is a business that's doing it, right?
Yes.
You worked all the fees out?
Yes,
They have the insurance and stuff that
they do. The state
Okay.
police, the rescue squad.
For under 100 people, and they've already notified the state police, the rescue squad, and everybody else. Scott, do you see any problem with it? No. And we coordinated to make sure hockey does not have games, or?
They have practice that day from 10 to 1 and then again from 5 to 9, so we can notify them, the CNC, that they have to park further back.
You have to park in the middle lot and walk in.
Right.
Okay. That was my only concern when we had organized sports already there. That, we take them out of it. I don't have a real issue with it as long as they're covered and insured and they've had all the prior approvals and we have the parking situation taken care of.
Okay.
So is that a motion to
Motion
approve?
to approve.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Colombo?
Yes.
I do want to make sure we get an inspection on that before this event, so we can note anything that's been damaged after the fact or that it already is needing repair. Okay? Thank you.
Motion carried.
I hereby move that all claims submitted for payment at this meeting be approved and then incorporated in full in the minutes of this meeting.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Colombo?
Yes.
Motion carried.
So there's a number of reports from the municipal departments, animal control, division of EMS, finance office, municipal court, tax collector, certification of mailing, added assessment, and omitted added assessment taxes for the 2017 final and the 2018 preliminary tax bills. All of these reports are available upon request tomorrow morning at the clerk's office, but I'll make a motion to accept these reports.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Colombo?
Yes.
Motion carried.
At this time, although we don't have too many people in the audience, I'm opening up for if there's any public comment that would like to address the Township Committee, now's the time to do so. Please come up to the podium, state your name and your address, and your reason for wanting to speak with the Township Committee.
Wanda Adamson, 15 South Sunset Drive, so I'm right there by Amanda's Field. And I witnessed tonight the parking with the soccer and the skate park and the hockey. So I thought possibly the rocks would work, and even if they were bigger, I think what they're doing, they're actually driving on the bike path to get around the rocks to park, because I witnessed that tonight. And the sad part is that the parking that's like directly opposite where the new ball fields are was half vacant. Not that far of a walk, people.
Even the middle parking lot between the soccer fields will be half vacant. We are looking at maybe a couple different ways to make some additional parking up front. I've also asked hockey and soccer to get together with their schedules so that when hockey has something going on, soccer is not permitted to park there.
I think part of the other issue was I seem to recall that it was requested that the recreational soccer not be down in the back because elderly could not navigate to get down, but I seem to recall you've rotated.
We rotated, part of that rotation was because of wear and tear on the fields.
Right.
So you give them a chance to rest. Plus, I wanted to see too, the safety with the kids, because they run back and forth, the porta potties at the skate rink.
Right.
And the kids are running back and forth to that, which is a hazard. I'm trying to see if maybe there's not a better way to put those fields towards the back, not in the pit field.
But where the men's softball,
Where the football field is.
or the men's softball, that's been used for soccer in years past.
Yeah. We have a problem with senior citizens.
Which that field,
Disabled people, even on all the fields, because of the location of our parking. And I had a call last night, I was telling Ed, from a friend of mine that's up here, he's going in Wednesday to get his hip replaced. And he went to try to see his grandson play and couldn't walk to where he needed to go. And so it's a concern of mine, and it has been for quite a while.
is there any designated handicap parking anywheres in that?
Oh, yeah, there's plenty.
I think I've seen by the playground, but,
And even by the skateboard park.
Okay.
There's designated, in the horseshoe area, it's designated there. But again, the problem is that we don't have hard surface for them to walk on or put a wheelchair on.
Right.
To get in the fields. So I'm going to talk to Dwayne and see if we can't, coming in the next year, rearrange that so the kindergarten kids are back more towards the old refreshment stand. And that'll give us the bathrooms and everything, and possibly, if we can, Scott, I like everywhere there's an opening in the fences, crosswalks hatched out on there, so it's designated. If we can get the signs like they have in Ocean City, pedestrians, and every event they should be out there just to note it. I really don't want to fence that front area in because I think it's 200 just.
But why can't we put one of those poles so that they can't drive past it, but people could still ride their bikes past it?
I had thought about that, but I think it needs to be a removable, not.
They make retractable ballards, fold down ballards.
I mean, 'cause, for some of the events, we do use the bike path to get vehicles around and different things.
But I think if we detract them from going around that way, then they won't do it.
We could almost just put in 2 swinging gates and have one of them pinned.
Retractable ballards, or
You know what I mean?
Just put the ballards up.
they make retractable.
They're retractable, that's my only concern.
You can buy a ballard that is removable or retractable. You just throw it in the back of a truck and you want it open.
We recently got pricing for the,
They make fold-down ones. You need a special key to turn them, they fold down. They use them on the boardwalks, they use them
Yeah, they're all
all over the place.
I would like to see it, that way they can't go on the bike path. But I mean, I had messages yesterday on my phone and pictures where they were parked on every piece of grass other than where we put the boulders in. I'm not sure what the answer is, except for that's why I requested getting new signage out there. So that if we see it, we can call the cops and have them ticketed.
is there anyone that controls the usage of when soccer is and keeps track of all of that? I mean, you do have a recreation committee.
Yeah.
Is,
No, that's done in the clerk's office.
So that's what we're working on now, to try to coordinate
Yeah.
their practices and their games.
because I can't imagine baseball, soccer, and, everything going on at once. It's
And
going to be
there's plenty
horrendous.
of parking in that middle parking lot.
Yes.
If they'll utilize it. And there's plenty for baseball on that side.
I haven't heard in a while, and I was wondering what was happening with the possible county purchase of the old Seventh-day Adventist school.
The county and the seller have been going through negotiations on the agreement of sale. I believe they just finalized terms. So that would be, the county's in the process, now they have to, once that's set, then they have several additional steps of going out, getting a survey, and environmental assessment, and different things before they can actually take possession.
Yeah, and the agreement, once this all takes place, which we anticipate happening, then the agreement is that the township will then take it over and maintain it.
And the other question I had, since you mentioned the lights in Tuckahoe, was, is that bridge project 100% complete? Because I see that there's a sign now on the building the state was using for that project, you know, up for rent.
I'm not sure where it's at.
Updates?
The project is essentially done, the going, the contractor and the DOT are going through the final punch list to make sure all the final items are complete.
There's between 3 to 5, I lost track of what it was, on the funeral home side of light posts that are in the ground, that there's no,
That's not DOT work, that's work that went to the electric.
Okay.
That's not part of the contract. But they do know that.
okay. And,
And on that note, if I could just add, I did notify NC Electric of this additional lights to take down. I'd rather work.
You did via email.
I'll make it transpire.
Well, I just wanted to make sure because
last question was, of the dogs and cats that were vaccinated, do you have a record of how many licenses were also written out? Because I know we were way behind in our dog licenses for this year.
There were no licenses sold during the clinic, but a couple people did come in today.
Okay. That was it. Thank you.
Our spring
Clinic,
rabies clinic is the one where we usually sell a lot of licenses.
yeah. 'Cause nobody wants to buy one for 2 months. All $7.
Is there anybody else?
Nobody wants to park on hard surface either.
Okay, so it appears that there's no other public comment, so I'll close the public portion, and I hereby move that a resolution be incorporated into the minutes authorizing the Township Committee to enter into an executive session for the following matters pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act. Matters: 1, litigation, affordable housing; 2, personnel; 3, contract negotiation, IT technician, video recordings. I also include in my motion the estimated time and the circumstances under which the discussion conducted in closed session can be disclosed to the public as follows. A, it is anticipated that matters discussed in closed session may be disclosed to the public upon the determination of the Township Committee that the public interest will no longer be served by such confidentiality. B, with respect to employment and personnel matters, such discussions will be made public if and when formal action is taken or when the individuals involved consent that it can be made public. C, with respect to contract negotiations, such matters will be made public when the negotiations have ceased and there is no longer a reason for confidentiality. D, with respect to litigation matters, such discussions will be made public when litigation is complete and the applicable appeal period has expired.
Second.
Let's call the roll.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion carried.
That concludes the open session portion of the meeting. We hope all to drive safely home, and we also hope the Eagles win tonight.
And see everybody on the 4th, I hope.